read some short excerpts from the book that the song poem comes from, The Garden. James's song is called Marigold, and it's a section that he and George chose that can stand independently, and it basically concentrates on the flower. It's not unlike a romantic flower poem that you get from Wordsworth or Shelley or Emerson, right? And so I thought I'd read a little bit of continuity in the book that shows the totality of its moving through levels from a humble object like that, which is an entrance to profound spiritual or metaphysical realities. That was how the Romantics or people like that used it. It's both a very specific thing, and as such, it's an emblem of universal things. And on the other hand, levels that are in between there, namely of things like the actual life we live and things that are going on in our society. Well, to put it more succinctly, I'll try to read some sections that put together explain why the Summer of George Floyd should be in a poem about a marigold, or conversely, why a marigold should be in a book about the Summer of George Floyd. The television played The Beating of a King again and again, never-ending beating just to inform us now, in 1992, 24 years after the murder of our great king. Now it's another, Rodney King construction worker, poor with his police record put against him with the leather and sticks of the police in the video of his arrest a year ago. The strikes to his face are brought back again, informing us over and over, the images replayed, remade on television now that it was news again. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? When they nailed him to a tree? Yes, you were there. And now again in 2020, were you there when they crucified George Floyd? You were there when they nailed him with a knee into the concrete. Lord, don't let it be that you're being lynched on a tree ever and again as on a loop in hell, a video we repeat of a being beaten. Oh, don't let it be the image of what we are, of what we always must do, but establish the justice, the poetry that you were and are to be, the poetry that we kill you for. Poetry and the garden where it works, unwinding itself from the skein of nothingness. Poem and garden walled off are pierced, penetrated, and are helpless, open to everything. Poetry and the garden in the midst stretch out their roots and leaves. Their action is no stronger than a flower. For instance, this marigold that stands waking in the garden and in the poem's regard, gathering and lacking power to refuse everything that it needs. So it swallows the sun and brings it here. Vanished, vanquished marigold, the flower form and flesh I watch unwaveringly planted here in the garden with you is nothing. The gathering of what you gather and the shape given you to take in passing, only the form of your flight, the kind of motion through the world called marigold, a wave, a power, torsion that swirls, forms, and deforms the elements which it first created by its need as it drives through them. Marigold, gold that lives and laughs gulping the light in a long wilderness, more boisterous than soldiers in the burning of a city, more convivial than night's drunken pit, freer than starved women freed from men in the company of an adolescent god, calmer, more silent than a saint's contemplation from his hovel in a steep forested gorge, before him a river and a cataract, constellations of deer and wild sheep, far behind him a white city. And now the section that is marigold. The shining of gold, dark and blinding bright by turns, the sun falling from blue clouds into the ocean and noon and dawn, all folded and held up, carried, offered on motionless petals, fingers raised, unchanged through all the day's seasons and the night under spectral, low-wadded garden bulbs. Unchanged marigold, except you always are born, flower, last in decay, and mummified brown and stiff stand in the snowy mud, shedding seeds. Mary's gold, your flower primal, gold above and red gold underneath, streaked with rust and blood, earth ochre, stain of red clay, knife wound, spike and spear thrust, wrists tightly bound, thorns, menses, a dripping scalpel line, the seven sorrows, darts that sum up all cuts, lopping the human parts away perpetually, the darts that are your seeds that grow in, pierce, harrow, fall from, and are your heart. Wow.
Streaked with rust and blood, earth understand that poem now? I know you've heard it sung live a few times, but how do you feel that poetry now that it is sung?
Well, it gives it a sort of a cohesion, or it brings out some kind of inner unity in it. One always seeks that and tries to get it, and then it's great if you see it reflected. That creates it again and creates it more strongly. By which I mean, when you're writing in the art of time. Music is also an art of time, but you're also thinking about an art of space. You want